Hey guys, I'm Mohammad Hashim from Hashim.in and welcome to this tutorial. In this particular tutorial, we'll be learning how to use the Sketch application. And this particular application is available only for Mac or Mac OS or OS 10, whichever version you're using. So, yeah. Now, whether you're a developer who's wondering how interfaces are made or how you can design interfaces, or if you're an aspiring graphics designer and you want to just learn this new application, this is up to your but what we're gonna do right now is gonna be exploring this very popular application. Now, for graphics design, from a really long time, people use Photoshop, which is also cross-platform. It works on Windows as well as on Mac OS. um, but personally, I prefer Sketch. I've been using this from a long time now, from over so many years now. So so I just wanted, okay, I just thought, okay, fine, let me just go ahead and show you guys how to use Sketch. Now I'll be covering certain very basic part of how to use Sketch, but now, um, so yeah, like I said, it's all up to your perspective. Now, something also to remember for the people who are out of the design world, is that we're not gonna be learning how to like design interfaces from scratch, all the basic processes such as wireframe and all those concepts. What we'll be doing right now at the moment is we'll be just learning how to use the platform. Maybe somewhere down the lane, we'll be talking about how to use, how user interfaces are made. But for now, let's concentrate only on the tool. Okay, uh, so let's see what we can do. So let's get into the sketch here. This one is not the latest version though. This is like um, the mid version. I'm sorry, like a really old version. So also by the way, I did try the trial version of Sketch. It's kind of really cool, but this is the old version. Trust me. Let's go ahead. Then. So once you start up the interface, it'll ask you guys you want to open up from a template or whatever. If you're gonna start up with the template, you'll be actually old version and new version is kind of very similar, but you'll have some extra options here and there. Some icons are really different in a lot of them, but this is a really old version though, and trust me, there's a lot of differences. Okay, anyways, so if you can just go ahead and create a new document here, this is what we'll be presented with. This is kind of what interfaces are. And something to remember before, like a small last thing that I want to add before I begin, is that a lot of applications these days are similar to Sketch. So it's not necessary that you need to have a Mac OS to run this kind of a software. You might want to go check out the software called Figma.com. Figma.com. I don't have to really leave a link in the description. You can just go and try it out. It's actually an online application and the web application that does pretty much what Sketch does, but it actually allows you to collaborate with your teammates or share the link and design collaboratively, which sounds really cool. But yeah, it's all up to you guys if you really like working on the web, and if that's up to you guys. But it's all a matter of perspective. But right now here, we're at Sketch. It's kind of very similar, okay? And the controls that I'm going to talk about in the Sketch is the same as that on Figma. So Sketch, Figma, and even Adobe XD, I'll have it over here. Look at this one. This is also kind of similar, but there are a lot of differences though. And yeah, the whole user experience part of Sketch is really easy. It's very little part that you have to learn compared to Photoshop. So the first thing you want to know when you're starting to design interfaces, very specifically when you're starting to design stuff for mobile or desktop or whatever, to create an artboard, uh, what you have to do is press on A. Now, obviously, you can go to the menu and just check out the other options there. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and stick to the shortcuts here. Trust me, in the beginning, it's gonna be a lot difficult for you because if you're used to Photoshop, you might be like, okay, A is for something else. But yeah, certain shortcuts are just a mismatch. Like Control M is for drawing circles, I guess, on Adobe Illustrator. I'm not really sure, but here it's different. But yeah, those things are little parts that you'll get used to it as you use it. But it's really useful to learn Sketch. So here we are. As soon as you press A, it'll ask you guys what resolution for what application you're making. Yeah, you're making a responsive design application, whatever it is. You can actually go ahead and click on any of these and start designing stuff. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this camera this a bit. Yeah, you can go and design icons, papers, and all that stuff. Um, for now, let's go ahead and click on responsive web design. So as soon as I click on the responsive web design, look at what happens here. I'm gonna push this over here. Okay, so as soon as I click on that, look at this. I've got the resolution for all of the, um, for all of the. I've got a resolution for all of these, and all I have to do is start adding content so I can actually see what each of them look like. So yeah, now as you can click on this, you can see all of the controls on the right hand side, and on the left hand side you can see all of the elements. Now these are your pages. You can have multiple pages. Pages are like your, like these things are like your layers on Photoshop, and pages, I don't know, it's like, I don't know what's the equivalent of Photoshop because I've not used Photoshop so much, but yeah, so it's all up to you guys. Now um, this is really useful if you have pages, like for example, you have, if you want to have icons in one part, like the interface is one part and the graphics in another part. You can have pages, if that's necessary, but that's all up to you guys. So pressing on command or control in Figma, and it's command on Sketch, so holding command and up and down will actually zoom out and zoom in and out, and that you can see over here. And click on insert here to actually add some shapes or whatever you want. Probably the one that you'll be using a lot of times is rectangle, because you'll be actually putting up drawing, like, what do you call it? When you're drawing wireframes, then you'll be like putting up a menu or a header bar, whatever it is. You'll be using a rectangle. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on rectangle here for now. And let's start drawing for desktop only for now. Desktop or desktop HD. Let's go desktop HD. You guys can go fill this up later, but for now, I'm gonna show you guys how to do it for desktop HD. I don't really have a very specific like purpose to make a website here, but I'm just gonna go ahead and create some dummy website here. It's like personal website, whatever you want. So I can just like draw it like this, and it draws it out. Now, first thing, one thing to remember is the shortcuts on Sketch is pretty much the first letter of every shape. Like O is for oval, okay, and R is for rectangle, and T is for text, which is like, you might be thinking T might be for triangle. If you're thinking about triangle, let me show you guys how to draw a triangle here. You can actually go ahead and draw something like a polygon. Now certain things don't have a shortcut, so you can't draw a star or a polygon. Hey, you have a triangle, but you don't have a shortcut for that. L and all that stuff. So I don't know. Maybe on the latest version you have a shortcut for it, but for as of this version, I don't really know. So triangle, pentagon, polygon. A polygon can have as many points as you want. Now a hexagon or whatever you want, a tetrahedron, whatever you want to draw, you can draw that stuff. So right now we're gonna go ahead and take a rectangle here and put it on the top. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and draw a menu. I don't really have a purpose, like I said. I just want to show you guys how to use the tool, and that's all I want to do. So you guys can go creative with anything you want to do. Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw a banner image here. All right. And you can see on the, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and drag this and put it on the top. What I'm doing right now is I have two rectangles. Okay. I did a command and a Command C and Command B. What I did is I just copy pasted it. You can right click and copy paste it if that's what you want to do, or Command V, Command C. So once I copy pasted those, I got two rectangles, and I can stack one below each other by using these layers here. So if this one is behind and this one is in the front, so if I want to drag and drop in the top, it comes to there. So I have this part here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a white header. I'm going to have a white header here, and hold on. So I'm gonna have a slightly some image here. Now, something to remember here. So, in this particular version of Sketch, like I said, it's a very old version of Sketch. In the current version of Sketch, you will have an image icon here. So, if you want to have a banner image or something, you can go click on that. And for this version, the image is actually hidden on pattern fill. Now, maybe in the version, depending on the version of Sketch you're using, this might not be over here. It might be on a separate icon. So you just have to find this file, this particular button that says choose an image, if that's what you want. Or you can have a gradient. You can actually fill this up with a solid color. whatever that you guys want to do. So for now, in this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and put an image here. Now, okay, so this one looks okay, cool, fine. Alright, let me just go ahead and put it right like this much. Not the perfect, but still. Okay, I'm gonna put this like that. So what I'm gonna do right now is I have an image there. You can tile this, okay, by the way. If you wanna have fill, you can do fill. And that's what you want. I'm gonna go with tile because I just want the particular boy there. And you can tile that up if you want to. So you can actually go choose an image. If you're using an image over and over again, like a pattern or something, you can go click on this plus, and so that it gets added up to your library. So the next time when you use it, you can just go ahead and click on that, and it'll actually go ahead and import it. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it like this for now. The next part I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and extend uh, my frame here because I'm going to go ahead and do some extra stuff here. So I'm just going to go extend these knobs here and oops. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and press on T and I'm going to go ahead and type in my name. This is my website. Now, like I said, this is the purpose of this video is just to help you guys understand the tool, but you can go uh, adventurous with the creativity. You can just go creative with this. But yeah, so for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and use a font that is my personal favorite. It's Boysen. Okay, so to find the font, you have to click on the particular text. And I got used to the shortcuts. Okay. By the way, it's really hard for me to explain every single step as you keep using Sketch is kind of really difficult for me to go and show you guys. Okay, so you have to go to insert shape. I'm sorry, yeah, T to press or go to text and then draw that particular stuff. But for me, I've got used to it, so I just go ahead and click on wherever I want to put the text, and then press on T and click on it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and type on my name. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some color here and put it over here. I'm going to increase the text size here. One of the best things about Sketch, like I said, is the fact that I don't really have to like roam around on the top or the bottom for where's my text control and all that stuff. So that's all up to you. So right now I'm just going to put it like that. Not the best font, sorry. Let's go with condensed. No, I don't want this. Like, let's go with Roboto. This one's the most decent font I've ever seen. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep this for now. I'm not going to dwell a lot for this. Alright, so the next part I want to do is I want to draw a menu here, burger menu actually. So I'm going to draw a 3 rectangle stuff icon here. So I can use a command to zoom in. And if I want to draw an icon, this is something really important, might be some importance to you guys. This is called grouping on Sketch. What you do is I'm going to go ahead and if you know what a group icon is, it's basically a menu icon. So I'm gonna have like 3 of this, and you can see that all of these 3 is just one icon, right? I'm gonna go ahead and put it right over here. Now, if I want to move this, okay, if I move this, I get this. Like I get it. I get every individual component separately. So if I want to group this up, I'm gonna hold Shift and press on any individual component, or you can do it from here as well. And what I'm going to do is, oh, my mouse is gone right here, so hold on a second, guys. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Oh, shit, yeah. And press on Command G, yeah? That will actually group the elements up, and yeah, that's pretty much it, hopefully. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and reduce the opacity because it looks really weird. And I'm going to go ahead and do something about this. It looks really bad, terrible there. Uh, I mean, it's for me. It looks really bad there. I just don't want to do it. Or shall I leave it like that itself? Maybe later I can care about that. I just leave it like this, okay? Because if I just think about this, I'll keep thinking about this all the time. So yeah. The next thing I want to do is I want to put up some text upon my image. and how to export stuff. And we talked about how to group stuff, right? We're going to talk about certain very important text elements. So if I want to have an image upon an image, or like say, let me talk about this. So you have a rectangle here. Let's say if you want put a gradient on top of it, overlay image, you can go click on this plus button here, and what it does is you can have a black overlay, and then you can just reduce the opacity of it. Now this one will reduce the opacity of the current layer or the particular part that you're doing. If you want to reduce the opacity of the whole element, you can go and click on the opacity, and I'll reduce the opacity of the whole thing. And that's up to you guys. So once you do that, the next thing you want to do is if you want to have a text OT, and that says my website, whatever you want to do. So let me go ahead and I can't just stop being imperfect. So yeah, if you want to have certain like text differences, like for example, this is my headline, and if you want to have a subtitle, you can go ahead and click on this and say this is my subtitle, and I'm gonna go reduce the font size here, and the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and reduce the weight. So there are different weights of a font, like you might be knowing, light, bold, whatever it is. I'm gonna go ahead and give some differences here, like bold is for heading and that stuff. So very basic stuff here. I'm not doing anything complicated. So yeah, if I want to group this thing up, I can just go click on all of this, and then I'm gonna go say all of this. I'm gonna group this up, and I'm gonna say header. Now let's say if I want to export just the header part separately, or if I want to export the whole desktop HD part as an image, and I want to give this to a developer or export this as an image, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this, go click on more exportable, and I can export this as a PNG image. What size? Now the current size is like 1440 by 7611. This is the part that I've selected here. If I want to export that, I can just leave it as 1x. That'll do it. And just click on export header, and you can just save it whatever you want to do. That's what you want to do. If you want to save this as in JPEG or SVG, which is a scalar vector graphics, which is in, we can put this up on Illustrator or Photoshop and start editing as well if that's what you want. But SVG is kind of like it's a vector image, so I don't want to talk about that. Okay, so you can export this whatever format you want to. You can export this as a 2x, like 2 times the size, which is like 1440 into 2 into the height into 2, whatever you want to do that. So that will do this up. Now, certain very important parts is about the circles, the union. We have not talked about these tools here. So Sketch actually has certain tools to actually let you prototype your interfaces that you design here on a mobile device or desktop interfaces. If you want to do that, you can do that. There are tools like InVision and I guess Marble, and so many tools to actually. And I don't know, remember exactly. There are a lot of names, okay. So there are a lot of websites out there which actually lets you like preview your websites, okay. And Adobe XD actually does this without any third-party tools. You actually can do this in this feature is inbuilt onto Adobe XD, but for Sketch you actually have to do this. Now, what you can do on Sketch is export this onto a like a prototype tool and actually view the live version on your phone to see if that's kind of what you want. So that's what Mirror is. It's a lot improved on the latest version, but yeah, that's what you want to do. So for example, I'm going to draw two rectangles here. Now not for any, let me just go ahead and draw two rectangles here, and so we have like, let's distinguish this. If I want to use a row, and this one's going to be like slightly, no, it looks really ugly. Okay, let's keep this for now. No. Okay, let's keep this for now, okay? I'm going to talk about certain controls here. So we talked about, like, if I want to go ahead and select two shapes here, and if I want to actually union body web form, if I want to make a candy or something, like a tree or something, one of the things you may want to do is combine two objects together and present this. You might be doing this in the form of combining different shapes whatever you want to. If that's what you want to do, select how many ever shapes you want and go ahead and click on union if you want to do combination, and subtract. You guys might, if you know what set language or mathematics is, you might be knowing what this is. Intersect, you guys know. Difference, and yeah, all the basic stuff. So all this is about like how to do these sketch. Now another basic, you look at this. Now these two parts are merged as a very single object, but these are also treated as a shape itself. So you can actually go ahead and save this as a template later on and use this. Um, okay, now one other important stuff is about how to use the pointer tool, the brush tool, and everything else. I'm gonna go ahead and click on art, and I'm gonna go ahead and draw a, no, don't want the rectangle. Let's try something else. Let's try a polygon. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a polygon here. And I'm gonna go ahead and increase the points to like 6. Let's do 6. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and increase the size to 512 by 512. Hold on. Yeah, 512. Alright. So I have a perfect polygon here. It's like pixel perfect. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and click on this lock symbol here. If that, well, what I'll do is the next time I'm gonna resize this, look at automatically the height, the width and the height is adjusting according to that, the proportion that I set up. So if I want to go ahead at 512 by 512, if I increase the width, even the height increases accordingly. So if it's 587, even the height goes 587. And the transform is for rotating stuff. So if I want to put it as 90 degrees, I will go as 90 degrees. If I want to flip the stuff, you can do that. A vertical flip, to go creative with that. And whatever you want to do with it. So one thing we're going to talk about is using a point. So before that, okay, let's talk about. Okay, let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and double click on it. Okay. And the second thing you would notice is you get this weird dots here. And what this will allow you to do is you can go and click on this, and on Figma you'll find different tools here. What I'm currently using uh, is a pointer tool, like a brush tool, whatever. Not a brush tool, but a pointer, like a pencil tool. You have different controls here. Like you can actually do this mirroring. I'll show you guys what that is. Now, first thing is the straight stuff. What this will do is, like, if you wanna like have you can actually control the different parts of a of the particular shape here. You can do that, and this will actually talk. We're talking about mirroring here. So this is like, for example, if I'm gonna go ahead and click on this. Look at this. This shows me all the guides that I need. So asymmetric is, this will not show you any, not show you, but you can see here. So this will not have any of the specific guides here. Whatever. So as you can see, it's weird. What am I drawing here? So that's what you want to do. Alright, I don't know what I'm drawing here, but you guys get the idea, right? So you can use the pen tool and go adventurous with it. The next thing you want to do is, we're also going to go ahead and talk about certain, rotating tool. These are basic tools that you can do. Double clicking, I will give you the controls, and something that we're not talking about is, the corners. Okay, maybe at certain points you like. In this particular rectangle, if I want to have a call to action, like, let's go ahead and I'll show you guys what a call to action is. I'm going to have a call to action center here. I'm going to say something like, I'm going to go ahead and draw something here. I'm selling books. Alright. And, okay. That's weird. Okay. So I'm going to have a button here. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. And I'm going to go ahead and, now, before you give this to a developer or anything, you actually need to show all the interactions. So you can actually go ahead and create another artboard and start demonstrating all these button controls. Like for example, how it should. Oh, sorry. If I want to draw a button here, like for example, if you're giving this to a developer, you need to show about like for example how the button is supposed to look before the button is clicked on it. Uh, I don't remember exactly if I ever have shared this article on Facebook. We talked about designing stuff for developers. We have to design for interaction, not just for the artistic stuff, which is also cool, but still. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and decrease the we're gonna get rid of the border. So I'm gonna show you guys like how to do this stuff. One thing here. So if I'm gonna go ahead and click on a button here, I'm gonna have like a purple button. I guess that's not the best color, but still. Okay, let's go with blue. No, purple. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and reduce the size. It looks terribly big. So I'm gonna put a by button. I'm gonna change the text color, font to regular, and you can have the alignment stuff here, character spacing, lining, paragraph. If you have like a big paragraph stuff, you can actually go in and configure that. Opacity, as we already talked about. Filling is again like if you want to have gradients. We'll talk about the gradients in like a little while now. Borders, shadows. Shadows is another stuff. Well, I guess I didn't talk about that a little bit now. So, well, there's a lot of things to learn about Sketch, but we're not gonna get through all of those. So yeah, we're gonna have this button here. Now let's say if I wanna have this button, um, and this button is like, okay, fine, it doesn't look like a button personally. So yeah, let's keep it like this for now. It's just about learning your tools right, so let's keep it like this for now. So let's say if I'm not gonna embarrass myself by putting that, let me put up a wireframe. Like I'm gonna go ahead and use the ink tool here, and I'm gonna go ahead and decrease the stuff here. I'm just gonna leave it like this. I don't embarrass myself. Yeah. So this looks a little bit decent. Okay. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and decrease the corners. Like I can say what I can say. If I go here, you can actually decrease the radius of each corner. So if I go ahead and increase the radius, you can see it becomes smoother, right? You can use the edges to do that. Now, one other thing you can do is, if let's say if one particular corner you want to have it to be really smooth and the other part you don't want to have it, you can just go ahead and double click on it, and you can get these edges here. So I can go ahead and click on this pointer here, and if you want one more edge also to be having radius, you can do that. You can just go ahead and click on this, and then you can go ahead and increase the pointer, and that will make it look like this. Then you can see here this part has radius, but these two edges don't have radius. So that's about it. Now let's say if I want to go ahead and add some shadows or inner shadows, and we'll talk about those. So I'll talk about interaction. Like hold on a second, let me show you guys what. So I have a button here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and keep the button white. I have a radius here. Alright, we're going to have a button here, and this is like before hovered and after hovered. So I'm going to have like something like button. So you can have here hover. So if you actually show this to a developer, you would understand this like a lot well. Like okay, this is how you kind of show him. So just know that stuff. So what I'm gonna do with that is I'm gonna put this in the center. All right. So if I want, let's see if I want to have some shadows here. Like let me go ahead and get rid of this and put this proper button here. Uh, terribly big buttons. Shit. So man, I get obsessed with this. Alright, so let's say if I want to have certain shadows on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and click on the rectangle or whatever part you want to have shadows on. You can also go ahead and give shadows to an image. You can have your shadows part here. What you have to do is go ahead and click on that particular part, and images will have even inner shadows and Gaussian blur. We'll talk about Gaussian blur a little bit. For now, okay, go click on shadow, and you can see the shadow. Okay, we want to have the shadows, but what X is like on the horizontal axis and Y is like in, you know what it is. So you want to have shadows on the bottom, you can have that. And how much do you want to blur the shadows? You can go click on that. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this over here. You can go here. You can do all the other stuff. So you can spread the particular shadows in what direction you want. It looks terrible, but yeah. Now let's keep it like this for now. This looks terrible, but still. So the next thing is what else do I have to show? Yeah, the Gaussian blur. So if I want to go ahead and select in this image here has an image. So what is the Gaussian blur? Certain parts I don't really have to show the image. All I want is the texture of that image, right? So at this particular part, I have the clouds. I'm really interested in the clouds, but I'm not really interested in knowing the person. Okay, that person is someone else. That's not me. So if I want to do that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is click on Gaussian blur. I'll take that, and you can see that you can have the amount of blur. You can do that, but what you'll notice is the edges start getting a little bit blurred out or whitened out. But that you have to just go ahead and increase the width and height. You will actually get past that. Now that's yeah, that's a little bit of a trick there, but yeah. So that's what Gaussian blur is. But you have different kinds of blurs, like Gaussian blur, motion blur. That's about like you can look at this. This is like when the car is moving and all that stuff. The zoom blur is like you would see on movies and stuff like that. Background blur is this is what background blur is. Like you can see that stuff's it added that stuff is there. So we're gonna have Gaussian blur like a little bit more. Like yeah, this is okay, fine. So the next thing is I guess I'm done with the basics. Do I have to show anything else? Alright, I'm getting obsessed with it. Okay, so fine. This is the basics of Sketch. Like my mouse is also getting tired of this. But okay, this is a really long tutorial, but I'll like to end up with this. So what you learned is not UI designing. What you learned is how to use Sketch. And you can also not learn the whole part of Sketch. What you learned is just a part of it. So Sketch is like what you do with it in Creative Base. There's a lot of resources outside to learn about how to use the colors. Uh, there are a lot of some example files that you may want to take a look at. You may want to take a look at some inspiration outside, some of the sketch computer, take part of it, take part in it, and take a look at the InVision's design tips. There are a lot of other people who are doing this as well, but these guys actually share some tips on how to use Sketch in a much better way. They share some shortcuts and stuff like that, which might be useful for you guys. I'm just sharing these things for you guys, so just in case you're planning on using Sketch for your long term, then you might want to think about all of these things here. So Sketch is all about like okay, we didn't talk about gradients, right? If I just forgot something here, yeah, we didn't talk about gradients. So on the gradient side, you have different kinds of gradients. You can click on it. Um, so you can see here you have two particular part like one's the ending and starting point, as you know. You can actually go ahead and have the gradients. You can click on that particular part and then um, and have your gradient whatever you want. Like let's say this one here. Alright, I'm just gonna have it like this. Alright, so if I want to actually have a linear gradient, like linear is like from this point from point A to B, it takes like it just goes linearly. If you want to have that kind of gradient, this is for you. If you want to actually alter the direction of which is going linearly, you can do that by dragging and putting at this point. So if that's what you want, or if you want to have radial, which is like the colors start popping out from the very center point. If you want to do that, you can go ahead and click on this here. This will actually go ahead and click on this. What will this will do is actually spread out the colors in that particular radius. Okay, and this is the I don't remember what you call this color it has, but still, yeah. So terminologies are not important, but yeah. So you can actually have this gradients here. Oh, yeah. So you can have as many colors as you want to. If you want to have another color in between, just go click on it and you'll get another color here. You can just have that as well. So you can have as many colors as you want to in between those gradients. Um, so guess that do it for now. So sorry for actually adding that in the last point, that last bit, but I just actually forgot that. That's kind of a really important tool that a lot of people use. But I just want. So that's it, guys, for this video. I don't have anything more to add. So if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe, like this video, and visit my website at harsher.in for more tips and tutorials. And I'll actually do a full series, like at least on how UI is kind of designed. I may not be a 10 years of it. I don't have really 10 years of experience, but from whatever I've learned, I like to share it with you guys because that's what I like to do and that's my passion. So, um, I just like to give you guys a brief overview of how the stuff is designed, at least the best of whatever I can, uh, and probably that will help you guys. So, until then, guys, peace out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.